Hello YouTube. Scholar here. I am doing a restream. I'm going to be doing another. This one is going to be about the California wildfires, specifically the smoke that is coming from it. This time, there are some corrections that I have to make. I misread a report about the smoke coming from the California wildfires, and for that, I'm going to take the old stream down and I'm going to be making this stream instead. This stream is going to be the correct one because I noticed I made a few mistakes in the last stream and I want to correct those. And because of the misreading of the report, it's just going to be this one. Now, I did talk about the high pressure system. I did talk about the wildfires going on in California. What I am talking about, however, what I did mess up on is that they're saying that what I should have said is that it could reach British Columbia soon. It hasn't been confirmed that it's reached there. There has been like some haze that has reached the state of Washington. However, it hasn't been confirmed that any smoke has reached into British Columbia and Canada. However, there is one thing I am going to talk about. This could very well happen. Right now, there is a high pressure system sitting over the western United States. I will show you the map right now. As it is, that's confirmed. High pressure system. You see it there. And again, I'm going to go over sort of the airflow that it's taking place. The wildfires are right here and down here. In fact, I'm going to go to Google Earth. Right now, there are wildfires taking place in Northern California, right around this area. Wildfires around there, around Butte County. And then there's another wildfire taking place in Malibu, down there. Oh, wrong way. Malibu's down here, just south of Thousand Oaks. We've got Oxnard, Port Hueneme down here. But this is currently where the wildfires are taking place. Now, I will go back to this map soon. I'm going to be going back to this map in a moment. But when you get the general idea, I showed you where the wildfires are occurring in California. I showed you the high pressure system that is sitting over the western United States of America. Now, there is a haze that's going on. Like, it is mentioned that the view of Mount Rainier has been kind of, if not blocked, or totally obscured. The view of Mount Rainier has been sort of, well, tainted or very messed up, shall we say. You can tell that there is some pollution going on affecting the view of Mount Rainier. And so there is some pollution taking place around the state of Washington in the Pacific Northwest. And what is being mentioned is this. It is being mentioned that because of the high pressure system sitting over the western United States of America, you have that high pressure and the smoke is being carried up to like elevations of 25,000 feet above sea level. And while you do have some hazy conditions taking place in areas like Washington State, it is expected that the smoke from these wildfires in California could very well reach British Columbia. It could reach Vancouver Island, Vancouver, Victoria. It is expected that because of the high pressure systems sitting over the western US, the smoke being carried up, because you have to understand something about high pressure. High pressure, you basically have when you have this high pressure, what you have, this circulation, you have a circulation of just this clockwise motion. And with the circulation of this clockwise motion, you have this possibility of, the high pressure is carrying these winds. You've got the winds carrying the smoke further north. You're already seeing, hazy conditions around here in Washington State, which is right there. And then you've got Canada right there. You've got the Canadian province of British Columbia right there. You've got Vancouver Island, which is part of British Columbia. In fact, I will bring the map up. Oops, I did not mean to show you that advertisement. I was not trying to, but unfortunately that's what you get. You've got British Columbia right here. It is expected it could reach Tofino right here, but it could also reach places like Victoria. It could reach Vancouver. You could very well have a lot of problems with, air quality. You're already starting to see it getting a little hazy around areas. Not, probably got some hazy areas around the Puget Sound region, around Tacoma, Seattle. It's already making the view of Mount Rainier kind of more difficult to see. There's Mount Rainier. But you have to really think about it. You got fire, you have fire taking place down here, and yet its effects can be felt all the way up here. And you have to think about, you've got a high pressure sitting over here. You got the high pressure, and then you've got the smoke being sort of blown upward. I just showed you the map. And there's a very good lesson that is to be learned from this. You have the lesson of geography that must be taken from this. Think about, geography is broad and geography is dynamic. Geography encompasses so many different fields about the earth. Geography is dynamic because what happens in one place can affect things in another place. And as shown, you've got, right now the smoke hasn't officially reached up there yet, but you are starting to see some hazy conditions up in Washington State, and it's expected that that big plume of smoke being blown northward, it's expected to reach Idaho, and it's also expected to reach British Columbia pretty soon. You have to understand the role of geography. You have to understand how, and the role of weather. You have to understand, you got the weather, you've got a high pressure system, and it's sort of like, it's creating clear conditions in one place, but it's sort of, the winds from that high pressure system, you got the clockwise rotation And that clockwise rotation is sort of carrying that smoke northward. And with the smoke being carried northward, it will not be a surprise if the smoke from those fires reaches British Columbia. It will not be a surprise if it happens because of, the circulation of winds. You have that airflow, and now, anything could come. Now you could also have a situation where if you get wind coming off of the Pacific Ocean, those it could push those winds, it could push the smoke inland and then create a smoky situation further inland. But if, with that ridge of high pressure sitting over, it is expected that that smoke will reach the Pacific coast of Canada. And, you know, you have to really think about how dynamic that is. Stuff that happens in one place doesn't necessarily stay there. It's happening there, but it's going to affect people in another place. It's going to affect people. You have to think about, the pollution. You have to think if somebody has asthma, they can't go outside in that weather or in that kind of condition where you've got smoke, coming from one place and fires in one place, but the smoke can be felt hundreds, thousands of miles, hundreds of miles away, possibly thousands of miles away because of the circulation of the air. I think about a couple of years ago, back in 2016, when, I live in Georgia. There were wildfires taking place up in, the Smoky Mountains, North Carolina, Tennessee. Well, we were getting smoke down here in Georgia, further south. We were getting the smoke in the Atlanta area. And I remember seeing the haze and just sort of the pollution coming from that fire, even though we were nowhere near it. There were no wildfires going on in Georgia, but the air circulation was carrying all that smoke down where we were. And the same works for, the same could work for British Columbia. It depends on which way the wind's going to be pushing. If you have this continuing of the high pressure system, it will create that situation where smoke is being carried northward towards the Canadian Pacific coast. But if you have winds coming from the Pacific Ocean, it could push the smoke from those fires back inland. But as long as that ridge of high pressure sits over the western US and just keeps, circulating clockwise motion, and you have the wind being blown up, that could send the smoke and the haze into the Pacific Northwest. And, that's what is expected right now. That's what's being predicted. And, you have to think about, and here's an idea. You have to think about, you got meteorologists, they're taking these computer models and they're using the computer models to predict where, where is the smoke going to go. And they're looking at like sort of current conditions. They're looking at, the current airflow as being, the current airflow, and you have to create sort of a computer model for where is that smoke going to go and how do we prepare? How do you prepare when you have smoke in the air and it's just because you have to understand people with certain respiratory diseases can't really go outside when you have smoke in the air. It's bad. You have all these particulates, gets in your lungs, makes you sick, it could kill you. But you have to think about just how all of this works, in geography, and then you have technology being used, weather, and you have to really think about how it works for this current situation. You have this high pressure system, it's affecting places from California all the way up to British Columbia and Canada, and it could bring some of that smoke further north. And the, you know, just where the position of that high pressure system could create the conditions to move all of that smoke up into British Columbia. And that's something to really consider. Hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to leave a comment, like, and subscribe.